one. $250.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Welcome everyone to IoT Coffee Talk.
It's good to be back.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
We have a little contingent here down in Austin.
Yeah.
So we'd all gather here on the couch.
That makes sense. There's a lot of contingents in Austin these days.
Yeah, a lot of contingency plans,
Oh yeah.
I just realized we don't even have a coffee though, but not even one coffee.
Leonard's on Pacific time, so he's got the
Exactly. Wow. So today's your birthday. So is that just because to honoring our 250th episode? I love that. I can't believe we're all still here together.
Unbelievable.
You're saying Leonard is 250 years old?
That's
in internet years.
That's what the stats said. It said the COBOL program is sending him Social Security checks at age 250. So yeah, that's what we found out.
I don't know. They might all get cut. They might suffer the budget cuts.
They didn't initialize the birthday value correctly. So you got to watch out for that stuff. Remember Y2K? Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Wow. This is so exciting. 250. If we'd listened to Rick Bellotta, we would have stopped this years ago.
230 shows ago, I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. We'd be done. We'd be done. Because remember, we ran out of stuff to talk about. We covered everything with IoT. We're done. Exactly. So I'm glad we kept that.
I see Dimitri's looks like a picture of a cocktail there. I don't know. Is he on?
Yeah.
I'm trying to make my camera work. I'm just back for a trip in Europe, and there's a whole bunch of weird things that happen in my office. So,
that's what happens when you're gone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Little gremlins go into your office and change all your settings.
Yeah, but I have to say that the cocktail idea is pretty tempting.
Yeah,
it looks good. It's delicious.
It does look good.
It's about the right time down there.
I can appreciate how it's 2020.
No, I'm back in
still having the same issues we had in 1996. Like, I still can't get my webcam to work. I still can't get reliable internet to broadcast.
Can you hear me? Hear me now?
Yeah.
Is this on?
Oh, you're muted.
You did it.
I did it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well done, bro.
Yeah, I hacked into the LLM and changed the prompt, and now it's back. So.
Okay. Maybe it's time for the disclaimer that it's at your own risk to listen to us and then to take us seriously, right?
But you might do it. You started it.
This is for entertainment purposes only. If I go crazy and say, "Go NVIDIA," how about those earnings yesterday? Boom! The AI, we are going, baby.
Yeah, totally ignore him.
Ignore me. Don't listen to me or Daniel Newman on Fox Business. Don't listen to Pat on CNBC. Don't do it. This is awesome.
Just ask DeepSeek, and you're good.
Absolutely. Little trivia there with Today's Your Birthday from the Beatles you played. I'm in Houston, Texas, so not too far from Austin, and there was a Mexican restaurant called Cyclone Anais, and you know how you go to a place and it's your birthday and they're going to come do something fun at the restaurant? Well, they would play that song full blast throughout this giant restaurant, and everybody starts going crazy. And then this whole, it's not like Red Robin with that silly song. There's people coming around and they're like chanting, and then they put a bib on you. You've probably seen this kind of thing. And then they're on the other side of the table, and this guy would blow into the steel and it shoots tequila through the air into your mouth, and they're like shooting it at you. And you're like,
no way.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I hear
Definitely
that
not
song,
Red Robin.
yeah, it's definitely not Red
That's what you think of.
Yeah. Was that you yesterday doing that?
I'm always shooting tequila. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's good old fashioned American ingenuity and innovation right there. Right.
Maybe it's Mexican American.
Good innovation.
Mexican American. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Well, I think a lot of it is spawned in Las Vegas. So, it's a hub of drinking.
Debauchery.
Yeah. Debaucherous innovation.
Exactly. Hey, that would be great if we started a company that was like our tagline. Debaucherous innovation.
You guys probably don't know, but most of those artifacts you do in parties, like the big bottle of champagnes with the flashes, I think, all those things were invented in France.
Of course they were.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like French
No,
fries.
it is true.
You're welcome.
It is true. In the 80s, the whole production in clubs and started doing all those kind of things. So it's like, it's like a lot of the disco music. Most of the producers were in France. So it started about the
It
period
all
of
comes
time.
from the Minitel. It all comes from the Minitel.
Yeah, well,
Do a little
It
dance.
all started it all.
I still have my Minitel and it still works, actually.
And also, speaking of champagne, if you are struggling sometimes at a dinner to come up with the right pairing, white or red wine with the food, if you can always punt. Champagne goes with almost anything. And so if you're struggling, you're out on a date, you're trying to press your date, and you can't figure out what bottle of red wine from Napa or whatever, just go with champagne.
And Rob's you're a winophile, or what do they call it?
Yeah.
Enophile.
No, wino.
Something.
He's a wino.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rob,
That's right.
Are you trying to cater to a younger demographic? Are you trying to?
If this was another time frame, that might be true. But actually, the sad thing is younger people are not drinking as much in general, and they're not drinking wine. Actually, the wine industry is on a downward projection.
Really?
It's really scary.
Yeah.
People are not drinking and wine as much.
No, they're drinking shots, get drunk about after half an hour, and then they're done.
Yeah. The only area
They're just having edible stuff. They're just having gummies.
Yes.
Stuff.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Craft cocktails are popular these days.
Huh. Yeah. I guess
I don't know.
everyone goes for efficiency. Let's see how quickly we can get drunk without paying the bar $50 per drink nowadays. It's like insane how much it costs. Old fashioned is like what? Like $25 or something like that. It's
Right.
crazy.
We're just gonna have Everclear punch.
Yeah, there you go.
In a garbage can.
In a garbage can, yes. You remember well, don't you?
Oh no.
So
Oh
hey,
my
guys,
gosh.
how's that mic passing going for you?
Hey, so far not bad, right? You tell us.
Really? It's kind of weird. Yeah.
Is it working? Are we audible?
Well,
Yes, you're audible.
let's do this. Yes, this is a 250th episode. Yes, Rick, you were completely wrong. We have big mouths. You completely underestimated that, right? We love to talk and rant and talk all kinds of crap. So yes, you were wrong. And we'll probably go on for another century. But hey, why are you guys in Austin? Tell us.
Yeah.
On
We're
the
here for
250th
I know.
episode.
We decided to all come to Austin. We're here for the Edge AI Foundation Austin 2025 event. Day 3, by the way. So we're pretty burnt out at this point.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
day
that's why
3. Rob was here the other day, which was awesome. We had a great panel. We've had panels since then that, maybe almost tried to achieve or surpass the awesomeness of that panel. But it's been great. We had 3 days of Edge AI fun and talks and panels and demos and brisket and beers and all that other stuff. So yeah, we got like another 2 hours to go, and then we're gonna start packing up, I think. So it's been good though.
Really?
And
That's
the
awesome.
big news is we are renaming the show to Edge AI Show, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Edge AI Coffee Talk.
AGI Coffee Talk, you didn't know? For the 250 first?
That works better.
We can vote.
Hey, but who is
You
that
guys are
guy?
outnumbered.
There's some guy who's not talking in your little group there. He's over on the side.
I didn't have the mic, unfortunately. How you doing, Rob? You okay?
I'm doing great. I'm practicing all my sales tips that you taught me on TikTok.
Well, everyone's got to learn something, Rob, right?
Yes. Awareness. Are you interested? Are you? Never mind.
Well, if you learn from TikTok, you're probably going to be very successful, Rob. But I'm not sure we're going to stay friends for long.
Oh my
Rob
gosh.
has the he's got the fan going for the fashion kind of hair
Yeah.
blow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now he's
Beyonce. He's got a
now he's
Beyonce thing going on.
definitely in TikTok mode now. So,
Yes. Oh my gosh. I know. So I'm at a conference as well, and it's the emissions, kind of tracking, reporting, and stuff like that. I'm me. I'm always trying to save the world with the SDGs, and so
Yeah.
I'm on the board of this thing, and I wish there were more people here who cared about emissions from oil and gas.
Yeah, I was about to ask, how's it going with the drill baby drill thingy?
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's tough. It's like it's very paradoxical because a whole lot of folks here in Houston are not going to stop drilling baby drilling, and yet how do you save the planet at the same time? And so I guess what I would say is I'm helping them around the edges, the periphery.
Yeah.
I can't make them stop doing their primary business, but I can do something. What do we have with IoT? Continuous monitoring remotely of stuff.
Yeah.
We got sensors for CO2. We have sensors for methane. Why don't you just put those placed at the drilling pad in West Texas, at your tank farm terminals, on your oil trains, your super tankers, at the refineries? You need to have, just like we always talk about, connect, collect, analyze, act. What's that action? I think the action now is if I detect methane levels escaping from some drilling area, it should automate and shut down a valve or shut down the pump jack or something like that. Just like we say, like if we did leak detection with the 6 million gallons of water lost per day in America, if you detect a leak, shut down the valve. If the soil needs water in your farm, actuate the irrigation system, take an action. And so it seems simple to me, but some people, you lead the horse to water and then you put their head in the water.
And then they're still thirsty.
Figure out a way to get away, right?
They're still thirsty. No, that we went to what was it, Distributech a few years ago, Rob, and that's what surprising to me. They talked about the tickets on the fence, right? And that blew my mind that they have these cards, and they'll change a different color. And someone's job is just to go around and manually check these from a visual standpoint. And anytime I see that, I think sensor.
We figured this out.
How often are they checking these? And then how often do they go unreported? You have a lot of human error. But while that happens, I mean, you're just leaking gases, you're leaking all this bad stuff. Like you said, that's where I think IoT is strong. And I'm shocked at the adoption rate because it can't be cheap to have what do they call it? Truck roll, right?
It's a truck roll. Oh, and what happens when you do a truck roll? You create more emissions, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Even worse.
You drove your truck to the pad site in West Texas and you burned up a lot of fuel, wear and tear. I mean, remember, what we've learned, the only way you can get through these customers' heads is it's got to be about the money. You got to show them how you're going to make money or save money. They could care less about saving the planet, or they kind of care about derisking, but it's got to be a money thing. And so you got to, it's like, if people go, oh, but these devices are so expensive and the wireless. And I go, well, how much did that F-150 cost? And how much did the fuel cost? And how much does that employee cost that day to go out there, out to Midland or whatever? Start equating that.
Yeah. Some of these places, they drive 3 to 4 hours and you're paying someone to drive 3 to 4 hours to manually check something. And they're like, I can't pay $7 a month for remote internet connection.
So are you saying it's
like, I don't understand.
Are you saying it's too soon to talk to them about AGI?
well, why don't hey, we just threw out some use cases there. How would you apply Edge AI to some of the stuff we're talking about right now?
How would I?
Yes, to put you on the spot.
Yes, put it on the spot. Simple. The automation of shutting the freaking valves based on the inputs is like pretty straightforward, right?
Doesn't sound like AI, does it?
No, but there is a pretty valid argument that if we at some point reach AGI, we're going to have to start, thinking entities that could make less stupid decisions than human make. So there's actually a number of fields that personally I'm very eager to see AGI coming, because so you could very well imagine that you launch your AGI, it looks at your operation and it will tell you, why the heck are you paying this F-150 and this guy to go there? Because you can put a little LoRa network and a sensor to do that. So
there's also these
points
AI, there's simple like solar powered AI vision that are for brownfield meter readings, right? So you you aim the vision sensor at the old meter that's like 30 or 40 years old, and it just reads it, and that kind of stuff. You don't need to install a bunch of new equipment. You just kind of peel and stick these solar vision sensors and do a little bit of CNN on the end.
Yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily that they'll produce less human errors. The benefit is persistent observability, right? That because right now with the clipboard analogy that you always give, Rob, the sample rate is very, very low, right? And usually you're reactive, or it's a scheduled monitoring activity with huge intervals where like what you're saying, Ryan, there's no observation, right? And then there's loss that can happen in between those intervals. But I think the misconception is that AI is inherently better than people. That's not true. But the benefit, I think the way that you have to look at it is in terms of being able to have that persistent visibility and observability, and probably higher fidelity than what we have right now, right? That I think is the big benefit, and I don't hear a lot of people actually talking about that, right? Yeah. They try to sell this notion that AI is better. It really isn't, and you're missing out on the real value proposition, which is, look, it can perform, let's say, maybe on par with a human, but you have that persistent visibility, the very high sample rate, and probably higher fidelity than just having a sensor out there, right?
Yeah, you know what? Go ahead.
I was going to say there was someone here from the satellite industry. They were saying that currently it's kind of like a 1 meter level of clarity, but they're soon going to go to 10 centimeters for like publicly available satellite data. And they're going to go to 3 centimeters. So imagine if you could satellite 3 centimeter imaging to read all that stuff. You don't even need to go out there and put AI vision sensors on the actual old meters.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Frame rate, though? What would be the frame rate?
Except when there's...
Well, in this case, though, you're just
when
reading
there's some clouds.
Yeah, once a day.
Yeah.
To stir the pot with Leonard saying that AI is not smarter than humans. I saw some humans when I was leaving Tom's party the other night in Austin. I think AI is smarter than a lot of the people I ran into on the street.
It's all relative.
They were like, they can barely walk.
Can an AI be drunk?
Different environment.
Post-trained.
Depending on inputs and environmental variables, it's very dependent. All right.
But I think that this is the wrong debate, and I think we're spending too much time trying to figure out if AI is better or not. The reality is that it's coming, and we have to figure out what it is good at and what it is to partner with, because there's no stopping on that. And by the way, I would personally argue that I think the majority of AI would be smarter than the majority of people on average in total. But it's still a tool that we control. So you have to think about it this way. So, it's to say, and it's to, and I think I've said that on the show in the past. I
kind of a downer, man.
He's a realist.
But just the fact that we call this artificial intelligence already put us as humans in a superior position, and I think that's the wrong way to think about it. It's just
digital intelligence or something.
Yeah.
But I think the right way to do it, and I think Rob may have mentioned this the other day in his panel, is there's always rules-based, right? So we're looking at the machine vision example. That's just simple mapping inputs to outputs and having that local on the edge. And I like AI to give me reports and to ask it questions about the status and the historical data of these systems. So I think it's not always going to be, I think everyone says, oh, it's AI. We have to dump everything to the cloud. We have to run all this compute power on all these GPUs and do all this. I don't think it needs to be that complex. I see it more in the interface and aggregator. You're still in the industrial environment. you're going to have those thresholds and those rules and those limits that are going to do the turnkey locally. And I like that. So anything dependent, once you're dependent on an outside internet connection, you're dependent on the cloud, you run risk, especially in these remote areas. You can get redundancy, but it's not going to be foolproof no matter what.
And
Sure.
there's another use case this goes beyond just that continuous observability, which is the prediction, the ability to detect trends a long time that a human eye or experience will not, or at least not in time. And instead of being reactive, you can become proactive. And instead of having to shut the valves too late, you will notice that there's an increase or that the trend for methane levels is going a certain way. And you can actually preemptively, act and not get to the critical level and have to shut everything. So this notion of being able to sort out and analyze a huge amount of data, instantly is something that AI can do and should be used for.
Guys,
An interesting question, but on what you said, Rob, because we are all techie here, so we are convinced. We think it's completely stupid that they don't do that, and we are wondering. But why even IoT solution for what you were mentioning, Rob, about the drilling? Why don't they use that already? That's an interesting question. Why things being there and ready to be implemented? Why don't they use it?
It's what Rob said earlier, de-risking. A lot of what you guys are talking about there is the de-risk part. That's really hard to sell. And we've talked about it on the show for, ages.
Even though these big
episodes.
companies have risk departments and chief risk officers, even in some cases.
Yeah.
Have you ever been at a presentation, you're doing a conference like the one I'm about to do, and said, I'm going to go up there and give a presentation that's going to get me not invited back to the event ever again?
You did that the other day here, Rob. I think kind of burned some bridges, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because the problem is yes, there's EPA and other requirements by all these oil companies to measure this stuff and know this. And you're right, they're doing the clipboard thing. And they do know about more advanced ways to do it. They don't want anybody to know.
Dirty laundry.
It's
Dirty
like
laundry.
or they'll take they'll take all the data and they'll cherry pick stuff that looks good for them and they'll report on that, because it's it's
can
still
use ChatGPT for that. You can create any data with ChatGPT and say it's coming from the field.
Right.
So I might say something crazy in my presentation this afternoon, like this will sound totally like socialist takeover. I'm going to say, obviously, none of you can be trusted to capture your data and report the data properly. Therefore, the government or some other third-party entity is going to have to come in from the outside. They're going to put all the IoT Doge or something, IoT devices, the sensors, and guess what? The data is going to them, and it's going to bypass your company and your people who are going to try to tweak the numbers to look good so your stock price doesn't drop, and it's going to go straight to where the EPA or whoever needs to see it, because obviously you guys can't be trusted with the data.
No,
You have a testament written already, or
That's great. Hey, before we go
start your car
further,
before you say that, so you can
Yeah.
run in there and get out of it.
but before we go any further, am I getting a sense that there's a French invasion going on our show? Who is this gentleman over there? I mean,
It's supposed to be quiet though. Don't say it. No one will notice.
Yes, our favorite friend from Leon.
Who is he? Is he like, Jensen Huang's special advisor? Don't tell me he is, because I'll be completely embarrassed.
You should introduce yourself.
we're still not over Napoleon selling part of US, so we're trying to get that back in a different manner.
Yes, introduce yourself for the audience. But
Yeah.
I'm Samuel Boudam. I work in IoT and tech since a while. I was CEO of Witekio, which was an embedded and IoT software company.
Oh, okay.
Which I sold to Avnet, a big distributor. And now I have my own company called The Fractional, still working on B2B tech companies, helping them to make money out of tech.
Yeah.
there you go.
I told him he should call that Le Fractional, but he didn't want to go with that.
Le Fractional.
Whatever works.
Yeah, fractional. That sounds better, actually. I'll go with that. Very classy.
Well, I'm so glad you're here because you really raised the IQ of our group just by being here. So, merci.
Yes, thank
But the
you.
good news is that his IQ is going to go down like ours.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
from my experience, be careful.
Yeah.
I can already feel it. I feel it.
Sorry, I could not resist.
I feel it.
You know what? I feel a joke coming on. I heard Leonard and I heard Olivier say the words observability. This is all the failed IoT companies. They pivoted and said they're an observability company because it's the same shit.
No.
Isn't it? It's the same shit. I'm observing what's going on in a data center or whatever, and I'm giving you the data. Now you have observability. It's IoT. But IoT didn't work out, so we pivoted to observability, and we just raised our B round. So we're golden.
Yeah.
Until they find us out.
Well, it's happening in networking, right? Everyone talks about observability, and then that being sort of that first order before you get to, that's what's going to drive your automation, right? It's going to allow you
an AI on your observable data.
Yeah, but none of this shit is easy.
Isn't that like what HP OpenView had or Windows WMI built into Windows Server, the telemetry stuff? And that's why we're telling everybody, whatever product you're making, make a digital twin of that product, capture all the data locally in it as it's in the faults and everything, and send that telemetry back. And there's your observability. And it's IoT. And then you can do analytics or whatever. Come on, people.
Yeah.
This shit's not hard.
It's so easy.
I'm surrounded by freaking idiots.
So we should go with the observability coffee talk rather than
Yeah.
We're all
Maybe.
observers.
Just for the next 3
Nice.
months. And then something else will be the
Something
thing.
happens. Yeah. No, I think we still need to call ourselves quantum OT. Coffee talk.
QOT.
Oh my God, guys! What the hell? Now Amazon is like talking about
What?
It's
Tell us the news. Tell us the
What's
news.
the latest Amazon hype?
Well, Leonard.
No, they have an Alexa Plus that they announced, so we'll see how far that goes.
Alexa
I just
Plus,
think it's going to be Alexa 2.0, kind of like
They showed a chip.
2.0.
They came out with
It's
it.
already at 1.0.
Huh?
I thought it was still like preview 0 point something.
Yeah, it's been beta
Like-
the whole time.
Yeah. And then, they just announced that they have a chip, a quantum chip. I just saw it pass in front of me. I didn't read the details. It's just, it's another cycle of silliness that I think is starting to cycle up.
Didn't Microsoft
Guys, it really is dying. People just don't want to admit it. There's a lot of conflicting trends and dynamics happening that don't make the generative AI monetization story make any sense. And also, it's probably going to impact all the supercomputing stuff everyone's talking about. So everyone wants to pivot to quantum, which is even more ridiculous, and something that's even more esoteric than AI that people won't understand because you have to be a friggin' super PhD
Entanglements, man.
to understand any of this stuff.
Or an AI, and maybe this is where things connect together.
Actually, the coolest thing about quantum is that, when you talk about quantum, you talk about multiple universes, and that there's an infinite number of multiple universes. And as Rob and I know, Rob, what is happening in a parallel universe right now? Windows Phone is wildly successful.
It is. It's killing. It's number one. It's number one.
That's
Just like I
quantum.
said, in that quantum universe where I told my kids,
Huh?
where I told my kids they should all be Windows Phone developers, and in that quantum universe, they're successful. In our universe, they're living in a youth hostel right now because it just didn't work out.
You're frying up baloney right now.
Yeah, in a van down by the river.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I was just going to give a stock tip, a rare stock tip from Leonard Lee.
Disclaimer before.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
disclaimer.
you guys mentioned alternative universes. Invest in Disney stock.
Okay.
They've cornered the market on multiverse, right, and all that nonsense. So
Wow.
Watch out for Slack.
remember,
What has become of the term metaverse?
seriously at your own risk, huh?
What
What
has
is
become of the term metaverse?
pretty much nothing? It's a friggin' joke.
I think it's
right?
up for grabs. That could tell you. That tells you everything. It's up for grabs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it will come back when we have AGI, because you're going to have all those AI agents who are going to create their virtual digital world, and they might grant us, an access to get into it from time to time. That's the future vision.
Yeah. Maybe. But what? So with all this multi-agentic stuff that everyone's talking about, there's this one thing that I encountered about 7 years ago in the research I was doing on swarm intelligence that people don't like to talk about, especially the ones who are floating the agentic hype, is conflict management, and how you prevent these things from colliding with each other in their interests and their activities that can collectively cause a lot of problems, right? Especially if you have them deployed in a network or infrastructure of some kind, that's critical. But I think we take our lives too lightly, that we would want to subject ourselves to these huge risks, unsolved risks that everyone keeps floating out there in all these pitches about how agentic AI is going to do all this insane stuff. This stuff is, it's crazy how people just jump to these aspirational or even fantastic, fantasy use cases or notions without thinking through the technical aspects of it. Right? It's just friggin' unbelievable.
No, it's human nature.
And
you guys are funny. 10 minutes ago, Rob was pitching. It's all about the money. So here's your answer. It's all about the freaking money.
It's all about the money, Leonard.
Think
You're
about
sitting here.
the technology. They all think, look for the money. Look at, sorry, don't want to get into politics, but look what's happening in the world.
Leonard, you're trying to torpedo our entire careers here by saying that they shouldn't listen to this stuff. Our whole business is based on a fantastical future with this cool tech, and people are like, "Yeah,
no, but
show
they
me the
are.
money."
Yeah, they are. They are. That's true. I'm not.
It's working. Don't screw it up for us.
Talking about metaverse, have you seen that demo? That I don't know how much of that is true or not, where you have these two agents. One is calling on behalf of a human to book something, and they start talking their own language. It was
they switch into
I think it's
high
a fake.
performance bleep mode or whatever.
I think it's a fake.
That's total bullshit.
It's fake.
It was scary, but I was surprised because the language was not that efficient though. Because it was long. I would have expected.
But that's the point. That's the point, and that's actually what makes it fake. Is that if you actually have two things like that?
Yeah, like the modem. It needs to sound like an acoustic coupler.
First of all, why would they use voice? Why would they use voice? They're connected. And especially if they want to use a language to kind of be more efficient and maybe conceal, you don't want to use voice so that it's total
They
bullshit.
speak Klingon.
Yeah. Well, it's like saying, "Hey, would you like to make a reservation? Hold on. Why don't we speak in our own computer language that's faster?" Oh, okay.
dialogue.
Guys, I've got a question. So it's 250th episode today. Leonard, you mentioned obviously Amazon launching this chip. Let's say 100 episodes later, are we still going to be talking about quantum? Are we still going to be talking about the metaverse? What do you think we're going to be talking about in 100 episodes time? Yeah.
Oh no,
Wow.
I think think about what we're talking about now.
I think-
what we were saying 5 years ago, and I got to be honest, guys. We're I think 5 years ago we were right about a lot of stuff. So I don't know.
In 5 years,
I don't know what we'll be talking about, but I
What
think
we're talking about now is probably more sensible than what people are talking about today.
in
And
5
so
years,
5
we're
years
all
from
going
now,
to
we're gonna
be
say, "Hey, look, we're right."
we're all going to be in pods in 5 years, bro.
Yeah.
We'll all be living in the 51st and 52nd states.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think-
You're going to be in a
We'll all be
pod. You're
having homes in
you're-
Greenland.
We're
You're
going
gonna
to
be
be
a
battery
battery.
in the Matrix.
We're going to be a battery. That's what you're going to be in 5 years. Remember, Marc Andreessen says you got 5 years to make as much money as you can, and then it's over.
Yeah.
So get after it, folks, and then get your bunker down on the South Island of New Zealand with a bunch of 50 cal machine guns, and just that's what you got to do. I'm here to help. I'm
I
here to
think
help.
there will be an
Are you Texan? Okay.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I'm a Texan. I know the real world. They're coming for you.
There will be an additional window in our Zoom chat, and this one will be purely artificial. I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah. We're already seeing that sometimes where it's taking notes.
We will
Those
have
little-
an AGI friend talking with us in 5 years in this IoT Coffee Talk show if we are still doing it. I'm pretty convinced of
Yeah.
that.
And they will be funnier than us.
Yeah. It's true.
You'll be trained on like 250 episodes.
I don't know. Maybe it'll get us in trouble like the dictation little function in iOS.
Can we make it a French AI agent, please?
Yeah.
You will be able to make it. You will be able to make it look and speak whatever language. This you can already do. It already do. I mean, the translation capability is it's a no-brainer now. So.
Yeah.
My agent's going to be trained on Rodney Dangerfield, basically.
That'd be
And
great.
maybe there will be several of them, and they will do the whole show.
Yeah.
So all
Richard
the-
Pryor.
I mean, no, but Tom, that question you're asking, I mean, geez, some of our first episodes were around digital twin. We talked a lot about digital twin. We talked about
We talked about Edge
blockchain.
right at the beginning.
blockchain,
Yeah.
edge computing.
Yeah. We covered everything actually back then, and we were done.
Did
Yeah.
you talk about NFTs as well?
No.
No, we did NFTs, and
We did.
and at the time, those were at their peak, and there are a lot of folks out there at the time saying blockchain is going to change the world, and it didn't happen. And then the crypto community appropriated blockchain, and then it's used for whatever the hell it's used for right now, but it's not changing economies, right? It's creating a new one.
Yeah, because we don't want that fiat currency anymore.
Yeah,
Power to-
ransomware.
power to the people.
Killer application, ransomware. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I think what doesn't survive is the hype narratives. I think that's what we've proved on this show. The hype doesn't survive. And so whatever nonsense people are talking about right now, that's going to die off. That's for certain. So I don't know.
Okay.
I would disagree with that. I think the hype evolves, but
Not the
it's
technology. Yeah.
No, but people overestimate the impact in the short term, that's for sure, which creates that hype. But everybody underestimates the impact in the long run too. So as mentioned with IoT,
No, not everybody. So I love when people say this because I have to correct them. The people who overestimate the technology at any given, early on are the ones who don't understand it. The ones who don't underestimate it or, in the long term, okay, are the ones who actually get it. Because they never subscribe to the nonsense to begin with. The people who subscribe to the nonsense, they fall into the trough of disillusionment. We see that with 5G right now. We've seen it with IoT. So you can't give everyone equal credit. It's the people who believe in the nonsense who suffer because you know what? They put their money in it. They're going to lose it. They're going to be disappointed with the technology because they subscribe to notions that are not true, that are detached from reality. And then when the technology starts to reach market readiness, it has matured, these people are going to be the ones who miss out on the boat. It's the people who are tuned into the technology as along its roadmap. They're the ones who are going to be able to capitalize on, the actual opportunities when the technology is ready to express itself in a valuable way. So I always like to qualify it because it's completely bullshit to sit there and say that everybody perceived the technology in the same way and have the same level of discernment. They don't. They really don't. So,
man.
Leonard, you sound like some kind of analyst.
no, I don't. Actually, I don't. Actually, yes, I do. I sound like a real analyst, not the ones that go around floating hype, right? That's what I'm known for. I'm known for that. I talk like this, and I do some of the most important work for my clients. I mean, shit that I could have never imagined doing when I was at IBM, PwC, Gartner, anything like that. So
You're making it real.
yeah, making it really friggin' real. And that's why,
That's why you live in a youth hospital.
that's why I'm not looking for a job from any of you guys, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
I think in 100 episodes, we're still going to be talking about the same stuff. If I look at years ago, because there's always this hardware, software kind of, limitations. So as you get new hardware, like for example, I'm hearing NPU more in the last year.
Yeah.
Before it was all GPU farms, and so I think having that kind of development cycle of how easy can we make it for the customers? There's a lot of development that comes in to making something really complex very simple, right? And that just makes your target market larger. That's the difference between success, I feel like, in the OT side of things, to have a maintenance technician being able to deploy predictive maintenance solutions and leaning on their expertise. Maybe it's wiring, maybe it's PLC, register mapping, things like that. And then getting on the other end, these turnkey, turn off this valve and mapping that. I still haven't seen, because of the moving target, I haven't seen someone simplify that enough to where I'm comfortable saying, yes, this is going to explode. I think we're really close to it with all of the different programming assist tools and I think things like that. So I think we're a few years out, but once it's that moving target of having the software compatible with the hardware, making it simple enough for the people who are actually addressing these issues, these manual issues on the ground, being able to deploy them and take ownership of it. So I think we're probably going to be talking about the same thing, but I'm hoping that all of that stuff's easier and much more user friendly.
Yeah, and it always gets easier, right? And the economics always get better. But what I think it takes is foresight to figure out what does the new architecture look like, and for those who are architects, figuring out how do you create value propositions against the brownfield realities, right? And how do you make these new architectures relevant at a certain scale where you can actually sell stuff? Otherwise, you're always bumping into like dirty laundry dynamics or legacy thinking that everyone bitches and moans about. But you never are able to actually trigger that, revolutionary sale or unleash that revolutionary market that these forecasts suggest, right? And but no, that's why it's great to have like these grounded conversations around technology and solutions, because it's really not out there. There's like a lot of marketing bullshit that dominates everyone's thinking, And the technical stuff doesn't get credit, man. It's friggin' ridiculous.
I found the best thing to do with a big brownfield situation, like an old factory and everything like that, is just turn it into a brewery and restaurant.
There you go.
It has a cool look to it, People are like, oh yeah, look at these old machines and stuff.
Makes more money, probably. Yeah.
Barbecue,
Probably, yeah.
Tech. Yeah.
Barbecue shack as well, right? So you have the brewery part and barbecue part, right?
Yeah.
Right. There's laws of nature in the world. Like the best barbecue places are in what used to be a former gas station, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that true? Former gas stations, they turn them into a barbecue place, and that's the best. So that's one of the laws of nature that we have to stay within, right? So turn brownfield factories into breweries, maybe sell pizza by the slice or something, and craft beer.
Yeah. Hey, just what are some of the key techs? I wasn't there at the Edge AI event. I mean, what did you guys learn? What was like the cool stuff?
I was going to chime in a little bit because we had a really good talk this morning, and we'll put it on our YouTube channel from Professor Kudithi Pudi from UT San Antonio about neuromorphic computing, which is kind of a misunderstood thing, but it's fascinating. And she kind of went through some really explanation. She's one of the leading minds in neuromorphic computing, and she gave a really good, I think, talk this morning about it.
Do you remember what she said about the human brain, the power it requires to do all what it does?
It's like 20 watts.
20 watts.
Yeah.
Like two LED lights.
Wow.
do that. 20 watts.
Well, also, she was talking about continuous learning. So, and this is an area that hasn't been figured out yet, but the idea of continuous learning AI. And, she said the human body, I mean, we've evolved to figure out continuous learning. Like there is a way. And, that's what they're trying to do in software and hardware right now is like, if you can do more continuous learning, then you don't have these big, kind of training kind of issues.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. I think the next 5 years or so, I think neuromorphic can apply. It doesn't apply to everything, but there's a lot of scenarios where I think it's going to be really useful. So that was a big takeaway for me.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there like a 1 or 2 sentence definition for what neuromorphic computing is?
Well, I think it's like, it's basically AI that's mimicking the human brain and all of its
I would say
processes.
biological brain, not only human brains,
Yeah, the biological brain.
biological brains.
Okay. Power, that's both with power as well, right? So given the human brain is 20 watts neuromorphic, mimics the fact that it can be done on a low power basis as well as biologically, which is really interesting.
And I think the big key on that is to find architectures that can work analogic instead of digital, because what costs a lot of energy is all those conversions that we have to do from the world, which is analogic, and digital things, and then reconvert, etc., which the brain doesn't do at all.
Yeah.
And that was interesting to connect that to the talk yesterday of the guy about the wake word, the wake word thing, which is costing a lot of energy when it goes digital. And so they've been developing something which is full analog. So the wake word like hello Alexa or whatever,
right?
And they can divide by 25 the power consumption of that.
Yeah. Wow. Basically, digital computing just generates heat, and so it's like we have to figure out more efficient ways of going from analog to digital than what we're currently doing right now.
I guess the answer is just stay analog.
Stay analog.
Exactly. Actually, that's what they talked about at
series of tubes.
Tubes.
You build a business around weight loss by thinking, right? Or maybe doing some conversion analog to digital, and you're going to lose your weight because you're consuming power in your body, like that.
Math calculations in your head to lose weight or something.
Yeah, just meditate and do math calculation, and I don't know. There maybe some chip that you have to power to do this conversion. I don't know.
You mean for like that electrolysis stuff that they do to lose
back to the point where there's money to make somewhere, right? So if there's money to make, people will be interested.
I think neuromorphic computing, when you say less power, I think less heat, right? And I think more remote applications. So there's still a lot of solutions out there that need to be oil and gas. Perfect example. It's sitting in the sun in a cabinet all day. That stuff gets hot. So you're going to put an NVIDIA GPU in there? I don't see that, right? That's not reality.
You need 4 Blackwells in that. That's what I'm recommending.
That's right. Generate even more heat.
Yeah. Smart agriculture, another one, right? A lot of these
more Blackwells, 1 Blackwell per crop.
They have banks of battery packs, right? That they're running on solar. So a lot of the use case and applications, you're not going to run these power hungry GPUs. So
1 nuclear reactor per acre.
The NVIDIA sales results were surprising to me because I'm just like, every time I'm like, how long until everyone figures out? It's like stepping on your gas pedal when you drive around all day, every day. Like that's not a good way to run your business.
You say efficiency is the new currency. It used to be latency is the new currency. Now efficiency is the new currency. So.
Yeah, and by the way, one of the aha moments for me during those 3 days is to realize that as for ARM, the ARM architecture were built for embedded initially. And now they are in servers since 2 or 3 years because they are more energy efficient, etc. I really realize that everything we do in the edge will be useful for all those problems of efficiency and power consumption of the AI on infrastructure, because we are way more used to that, to deal with low energy, to deal with those kind of constraints. So we will drive innovations that will be useful for the big AI.
The edge is the world.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
and then they do the money, not us. But
can we just repurpose or deploy 486 PCs from 1992 and running DOS?
Can try and run DeepSeek on that.
Well, hey,
remember we used to do serial ports and stuff on those machines back then. It sounds like edge computing, maybe.
We're doomed to run all kinds of things.
And we only had like 4 mega RAM, and we did everything.
Here's the ironic thing: that computer you're talking about would be able to process simple math a hell of a lot faster than any of these large language or MOE models in the cloud. So I mean, I know that you said that as a joke, but there's truth in it, right?
All right, we're going to launch a DOS 486 AI company.
This could be
And this
Intel's
is-
new strategy is like going back to 486s and 3.
And this
Yeah.
is the Minitel comes back, guys.
Minitel.
Oh my God.
I love it.
You see what's
I love
happening?
All right. So, hey, wait a minute, guys. So Dimitri is making a lot of stink faces over there. Dimitri,
Yeah.
don't act like, we don't notice it. So what are you going to say? You want to say, I know.
I was thinking that we should invite Rick back, and we tried, but we should no, because he's the one saying that the current Gen AI or AI approach is brute force and doesn't compare to anything that the brain does.
Oh,
That's the wrong path. So that's what I was just thinking. But it's interesting. I have to look into this, whatever you call it, morphic thing. But I think one of the big advantage that those systems have is that they are very close to the sensors because our biological brains are tightly integrated with sensors. So the learning is very, very different from the digital way we do things. So
Multi-inputs. We have eyesight, we have hearing. Anytime I think of sensor input on the edge, I think of, okay, you can take your car to a mechanic, he can hear it, right? That's an input that you can do, right?
Yeah.
You can see issues. And I think I love the edge and the predictive maintenance like we were talking about earlier, because a lot of these places could take a day to schedule, or they could have technicians managing an area, right? That's lost productivity downtime. So just basic statistical multi-sensor inputs on the edge that can save a lot of money really quick. But still, that's been true 5 years ago, right? Why aren't more people doing that?
Well, so going back to what are we going to talk in 5 years? I mean, we started the conversation about monitoring and observability, and I mean, Siebel has been pitching that with C3 in 2009, and we are, 15 years later, it's not widespread anywhere. So, yeah.
Oh my God. I just read the funniest thing. You're going to love it, Leonard, because you're Mr. Crypto, not. Like, there's a woman on Facebook who's like grandma age, like friend of my mom's, and she just posted that she just became a certified cryptocurrency expert. She took some class and got a diploma. It was like, oh God. And I was like, well, maybe her account was hacked or something. I don't know. Am I reading this right?
Oh my God.
She's into blockchain.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's too funny. But hey, look, you know what, Dimitri, I think, guys, dirty laundry, I think that's like the biggest problem. We scratch our heads wondering why things don't get adopted for probably the most obvious reason that we don't really contemplate. And I think that's like one of the most important concepts to come out of the 5 years that we've been doing this thing is it's that dirty laundry episode. So folks, if you haven't watched the dirty laundry episode, watch it because that is the problem, right? There's everyone's trying to sell observability, but there's dirty laundry problems that certain stakeholders just don't want to draw attention to, like exactly what you're talking about, Rob. And so actually what you're going to say to that audience over there in Houston is probably the most important thing to be said. That's the freaking headwind, right, dude? That is the headwind.
I think that
is the headwind.
What you face when you are a company CEO, and what I lived for a few years, is you have a countless amounts of problems to deal with, and you cannot solve everything.
Yeah.
And so at some point, you know that a lot of things are suboptimal in your company, but you choose the things that are the most pressing issues you have. And so probably that topic of connecting valves, etc., they know it will be better, and it's like silly to send a guy and do 3 hours of drive, etc. But out of all the problems they have, this one is probably low priority because, well, they waste money anywhere. They waste money on some other topics and way more. And so they have, you only have 24 hours a day as a leader, and your people too. And so you have to prioritize. So it's probably not high on the list. You pick
And I think you're actually totally right to the point, and we talked about that in the past. But I also do believe that it's very dependent on the industries, because there are many industries where using all this tech will be optimization, and then there is the perception of the reality that this optimization is actually not necessarily the priority, because there are other things that are more optimized. There are only a few places where it's a true disruption. I would argue that electric car are one. So the way we build electric car is fundamentally different. But I mean, oil and gas, we're still pumping oil and gas. And as you said, the problem of the pump and the compressor and the pipes is probably more important than putting a bunch of sensors. Because you're optimizing. You're not, pumping 10 times more gas or 100 times more gas. You're going to optimize 10, 15%. Where do you spend money?
Yeah,
So
and then
you're saying that the oil and gas company CEO's got 99 problems, but driving a pickup truck to do a methane detection ain't one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a small one.
But
It's a small one.
and it could be perceived or reality, because then my experience of the physical world, the problem is that every freaking installation is a system integration project, so there is no standard. So there is no I just drop a bunch of sensors, I push a button, and I get value. No, it's never that. You have to figure out what the freaking engineer that programmed the PLC who did it totally differently because he was in another company and didn't publish it because it's intellectual property. Everything is system integration in the physical world.
But Dimitri, I would say that what the CEO needs to do is all he needs to do is buy a bunch of sensors, write a big check, and then magic happens.
Exactly.
You don't have to worry about that other stuff.
To me, the big check preferably. So.
On the topic, and maybe the guy which is driving there and checking something does something else too. Meaning, he's probably on. I mean, they are not stupid, so they optimize. And when he go there, maybe he fix some stuff. Maybe he checks some other things. And so it's never as simple as what we describe in our pitch deck when we say, I have a solution to do that, and you'll save that much money. It's always more complex than it looks.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
We'll be talking about this pickup in 5 years. I bet you that.
Well,
Maybe the pickup will be electric by then.
Yeah, probably.
Or maybe not.
Probably not.
driven by a robot.
It'll be nuclear powered.
Yeah, I mean, on the topic of optimization, we also in the course of 5 years brought up the whole diminishing value of 7 Sigma. So if you are an IoT guy out there selling a 7 Sigma solution, you're probably not going to get too much business.
It's a good thing that no one's selling that.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that, Leonard, because we had a panel today with someone from the aerospace and selling into, I think it was the Navy. And they were saying, like, basically for AI, for a lot of these aerospace things, basically they set expectations that it's 85 to 95% accurate. I think so. It's not like 5 nines anymore. Like they have to reset expectations that things are not. You're not going to have AI at 5 nines. It's never going to happen. So, it's like 90% is the goal or 85% is the goal.
That's exactly right. That's just like in Top Gun Maverick. When Maverick's sitting there talking to Ed Harris, and he's like, "Drones are going to replace you guys and whatever, and all this AI," and then Tom Cruise just looks back and goes, "Maybe so, but not today."
That's actually pretty badass, man. Yeah.
It is badass. It is badass.
He's in the danger zone.
Yes.
Well, you know what? He might be one of those guys that actually knows, like one of those Hollywood celebrities who actually knows more about AI than a lot of the tech bros,
Yeah.
Right?
I think he got replaced by AI a long time ago, actually.
How can he look so young? How can he look so young without being an AI?
He's an avatar.
Yeah, man. When I watched him stream down from the top of Stade de France at the Olympics, I was like, "What? He did this stunt?"
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
all right, guys, we got to wrap up the 250th episode of IoT Coffee Talk. So who wants to take us out? Who wants to do the honors?
I'll just
Leonard,
say thank you guys for inviting me,
yes.
and that was great.
Yeah, great having you. Yeah, make sure.
Leonard, why don't you, as our hostess with the mostest, why don't you take us?
I'm not. I hate when people. I'm not. I really am not. This is us. Right? This is us. And I always tell people that. Your show. It's like, it's not my fucking show.
I don't know. They not like us. Anyway,
No. Well, you know, I'm sure they say
they're
that
not like
when
us.
they say, "Hey,
They're not
Rob,
like
your
us.
show," right? "Hey, Pete, your show." It's like, no, this is our show. It's but hey, everyone, thanks for hanging out with us for 5 years. It's incredible, and we're gonna go into the next year of doing IoT Coffee Talk strong because there's no stopping us. I mean, and there's no shortage of nonsense out there for us to react to for the better part of eternity now. And really, what the friggin' hell are you doing? And we really appreciate your viewership, your listenership. Remember to like, share, and comment. But more importantly, donate to Elevate Our Kids. Because we do all this stuff for the love of the children. And, you know,
it's for the children.
yeah, and we want to help bridge the digital equity divide for kids K through 12. Simply because there's a lot of disasters happening in the world, and you know it's a good thing to help out, right? Is that a bad thing?
Help out.
Yeah, consider
Just help out.
donating to Elevate Our Kids at www.elevateourkids.org. And of course, if you're not into fashion or charity, but you love fashion, nobody's wearing IoT Coffee Talk thing, but you can go there and buy some merch, right? So we have IoT Coffee Talk merch as well as Elevate Our Kids merch. And once again, thank you so much. Hey, thanks, guys. It's so cool to do this with you guys every week. We have done this every week without fail for 5 years.
5 years.
And it will be in French in 5 years from now.
Well, I guess I better start taking classes or real-time translator. So yeah, with that, hey, thanks everyone, and we will see you every week for the next 5 years at least.
We'll see you in the Matrix.